Good morning, Colonel Bye. It's Tuesday, May 12th. I'm Josh.
And I'm Josh.
And here are your morning announcements. Summer school registration for OCDSB summer e-learning courses is now available. In-class or face-to-face summer school will not be offered this year. If you are interested in registering for the e-learning summer courses offered this summer, the form is available on the CB homepage under School News. Registration closes on June 12th. Have you ever thought about going to school outside Canada? You should attend the Study and Go Abroad Virtual Education Fair on Thursday, May 21st. The fair will feature universities, professional schools, and colleges from Canada and around the world, offering undergraduate and postgraduate degrees, diplomas, and certificate programs. The fair will run from 8 to 2 on May 21st. It's free, but you must register on the Study and Go Abroad website shown below. We are excited to announce the application for the SET Ottawa 2020 executive team are now open. As a SET executive, you will work with a team of motivated individuals to organize the 2020 Student Engineering and Technology Ottawa Conference. If you or a friend demonstrate great initiative, a thirst for knowledge about engineering, and want to join a network of exceptional future technology professionals, find the application by visiting the link below. Don't forget to check your school email, ManageBack, and Google Classroom every day, and contact your teachers if you have any questions. That's all from us today, CB. Here's your sports desk.
Welcome back, sports fans. I'm Tip.
And I'm Jimmy. And
this is your sports desk. Let's
get into
some
sports
time.
Woo! So excited to see you all.
First off, we got a chance to talk with Red Blacks player Alex Mateus.
Let's go see how it went.
Hey Cougars, I'm here with Alex Mateus, a member of the Ottawa Red Blacks. Thank you for joining us. So Alex, can you explain a little bit about what your position is and what it took for you to get there?
So my position in football is called center, and I'm a part of a unit called the offensive line. So there are usually 5 of us on the field, with myself in the middle of the 5. Myself with the other 4 players beside me, 2 on each side. We try and stop the other team from hitting our quarterback. So we block the players, we try and get in front of them, and we try to give our quarterback as much time as possible to throw the ball. And then what it took to get here, it took a lot of time, a lot of trial and error. Now in my career that I've played 5 years professionally and won a Grey Cup and a couple little personal awards, I can now confidently tell everyone and kids that I play football professionally, but it's my 6th favorite sport. It isn't actually the sport that I grew up wanting to play. I never put on football pads or a football helmet until I was the age of 16. But I did know that I always loved to work out and I always loved sports, and that I always struggled in the classroom. Both my parents are relatively small. You wouldn't think that they would have a big offensive lineman, 300 plus pounds. Both my parents are like under 150. And so you wouldn't think that I'd be this big, but over the years, as I kept on growing, soccer became a little more difficult, or judo might have been a little too physical, or I got injured there. And then my interests also changed. Whereas younger, I enjoyed the running and the sprinting and basketball. When I got older into high school, I started lifting weights and I enjoyed that more. Taking the opportunities at school to try the different sports really helped me along the way, and, eventually find a sport that worked for who I was at that time and kind of who I was growing to be.
Can you give us a rundown on what you're doing to stay mentally and physically healthy, and how your training has changed?
So one of the main things that I'm doing to stay mentally ready, which I would say staying mentally ready comes before physically. So number one would be sticking to a schedule. So that for me, that includes Monday to Friday. I try to stay as strict as possible with my workouts and my eating. And that allows me the weekend to maybe rest a little more mentally. And then physically is probably the biggest change, because we don't have a lot of equipment, or you can't go run, or you can't work out with other people. I've had the chance over the years to receive a lot of guidance, and there are a lot of things that you can practice at home without a lot of space. They might be a little more specific to what your job is, if you're a soccer player or basketball, or if it's not a sport, if it's a certain industry, it might be significantly different. But as long as you're working and you're trying something new, I don't think anyone should be down on themselves for doing that. It might not be the most efficient. You might not be able to do the exact same training. So for example, as a football player, you're lifting a lot of weight. You're lifting heavy weight, so you need a lot of equipment. Sometimes you need spotters to help you with the workouts and the exercises. Whereas I can't really do that anymore. I don't have tons of equipment. I do have some at home. How I'm adjusting it, if I can't spend as much time focused on the big movements, squats, deadlifts, which are bang for your buck, one thing I'm focusing a lot on is my balance and how I control with my feet. In football, my best games, I've noticed that I had really good control and balance. It allowed me to hit other people. When I got hit, I was sturdy, and it's really important for overall health. If you can balance on one leg on certain, a wobble board, or there's certain poles or uneven ground, that creates the chain of stability through your whole body. I can't squat, I can't deadlift, but in the mornings, middle of the day, and at night, I'm doing a progression of balance exercises. The only way you can get something out of that is if you're consciously focusing on what that exercise is and what that rep is.
So our show recently did a piece on concussions and kind of how it affected students and what teachers have kind of seen and what are the process that people have to go through. So being within the football field, have you had any personal experiences with concussions, and how have you kind of seen concussions affect football as a whole?
Personally, for me, I haven't had many experiences with concussions playing football. In my younger years, I didn't really have as much contact because I didn't have to. I could get away with my fast feet and my athleticism. Once I moved to the States for a scholarship to play football, that's when I really had to learn how to bang and really hit and get physical. But for myself, I've been pretty lucky, other than the judo one, which was when I was younger. And then for concussions, how I've seen them affect teammates, I've seen it a lot. I have a couple friends that really do struggle with the consequences of concussions. One of my best friends, Casey Cochran, great guy. I played at University of Connecticut with him. He was my quarterback. He had 12 concussions, and now he can't drive in the rain. I have another friend that can't control their emotions. They're like manic all the time. It's hard for them to kind of stabilize how they feel. And so it's really unfortunate to watch, the people that I play with, and some I would consider my brothers, having to deal with this issue for the rest of their lives. But they're great people. They've done incredible things, and that's the risk you take when you're doing something dangerous like that.
Do you think the situation of concussions has gotten better within the past decade, or do you think it's kind of gone backwards?
From my experience with sports organizations and how they're adapting their rules to accommodate, the danger of concussions has been awesome. I know a lot of people knock the NFL for changing the rules, but the people that complain about those rules also have probably never played football before.
Do you have any motivational or inspirational words you can share with any young athletes just starting out or stuck in the same position as you are?
Where do I even begin? One, this isn't necessarily limited to sports, but I do think it's really important. 80% of communication is nonverbal. And that means that I spend most of my time and effort on my body language. If you're an athlete and you want your coach to play you, you want your coach to believe in who you are, nothing you say will change your coach's mind. The only thing that'll change your coach's mind is if you focus on showing them that you care without telling them with words. So what might that mean? For myself, it's to run my ass off every single time. So that's number one. Another one you can do is always make eye contact with your coach. If your coach is looking around at all the players on the team, and some of them are engaged, some of them aren't, but then they make eye contact with you and you're staring into their soul like this is the most important thing that you've ever listened to in your life, what do you think that coach is going to think about your commitment to the team and your commitment to getting better? I used to hate the physical aspect of football. I wasn't a big fan of the big teams. I didn't really like living in the US with that culture. So my advice for other athletes would be find what you enjoy in that sport. Of course, you always want to work on the qualities that you might struggle with. Of course, you always want to work on those. But you have to find what you enjoy, what you're willing to die for, what you just love to work and sweat and bleed doing, and spend your time doing that.
Well, thank you for all of the great advice, and thank you for joining us. Sending it back to the desk.
Awesome, guys. So cool to have had you on the show.
Next, we have a piece to show you all about the damages of concussions.
I got my concussion while playing a volleyball tournament. I hit my head a few times on the floor since the floor was sticky, so we weren't gliding through as normal.
We provide the accommodations that are set out by medical professionals. So they can range from anything from providing areas within the building that have dimmer lighting to printing off tests on green sheets. We can do what is being stated as necessary by the professionals.
So my school played a very vital role in helping me get back from my concussion. Mr. Shea specifically followed my recovery. He provided a lot of one-on-one help. For example, if we were reading a book in any class, I would get access to the audiobook so I wouldn't have to read and strain my eyes.
There are 6 eventual steps where you got to get to, and they have to be signed off and checked off at each stage. So from basic rest to certain accommodation in the classroom, whether that's studying in a darker area or taking more time to finish assignments. It really depends on the individual injury and the individual students, but that gets all outlined, and all those stages must be filled to eventually you get back to the return to learn or to return to physical activity on the playing field.
Thank you for the useful information.
Quick reminder, CB, send in your trick shot submissions to sportsdesk2020@gmail.com for a chance to be featured on Sports Desk and win some CB merch.
Well, CB, that's it from us today.
This is your Sports Desk, signing off.
My name's Ian Mendes from TSN 1200 here in Ottawa, and you're watching Sports Desk on Cougar Vision.